Hey, what's up guys? My name is Jeff with Stars Gaming, coming to you with another PvP guide, and today we're taking a look at the Unholy Death Knight in patch 8.0. And in this guide we're going to be covering things like stats, talents, honor talents, rotation, and then lastly I'm going to be showing you a 2v2 ranked arena match so you can kind of see the playstyle of the Unholy DK. So let's get right into it guys. As far as stats go, the Unholy DK is going to be the same as it was in Legion. So we're going to want to focus on Mastery because that increases all of our shadow damage, and then Haste because that increases our rune regeneration, and then Critical Strike, and then basically everything else. And of course our main stat is going to be Strength, which increases our attack power. As far as talents go, I've actually been testing a lot of these talents in PvP today, and some of them are really good and some of them are kind of bad. So for the first row we're going to be going with Infected Claws, which gives our pet a 35% chance to cause a festering wound on the target. But to be honest guys, there's no really wrong choice in this row. They're all really good. All Will Serve gives us an additional pet, and then Client Shadows is really good against Frost Mages, Resto Druids, or basically classes that can kite you, and it does pure shadow damage, so it goes through armor. But my personal favorite is definitely Infected Claws. For the next row we're going to go with Ebon Fever because it increases the damage of our Virulent Plague, and it also does damage in half the time, so it's really good in PvP. Next row we're going with a Asphyxiate, which is a 4-second stun. It's really good for, you know, peeling for your teammates or crowd controlling a enemy healer. Next row we're going to go with Pestilent Pustules, which gives Festering Wound a 10% chance to grant Runic Corruption, which increases our runes. So this is really awesome talent. I really like that. Death Pact is a heal on a 2-minute cooldown, really good in PvP. Next row we're going with Pestilence, which basically gives our Death and Decay ability a 10% chance to cause a festering wound on the enemy. And then lastly, this row is once again all about personal preference guys. I really like Summon Gargoyle because Unholy Death Knights don't really have a lot of burst damage, and Gargoyle does really good damage for 30 seconds, and in addition, whenever you spend runic power it increases its damage. But this last row I definitely recommend you guys kind of mess around with the talents and see which is your personal favorite. Alright, so now let's move on to honor talents, and this is what I'm rolling with right now. I'm going with Glider's Medallion, followed by Unholy Mutation, which makes it so that when your Virulent Plague Dot gets dispelled or when it expires, it erupts for 400% of normal damage. That's actually pretty insane. Next we are going to go with Necrotic Strike, which is a healing absorb. It's really good in 2s, especially if you're facing like a healer DPS comp. And then lastly I'm going with Necrotic Aura, which increases our magical damage by 8%. So but honor talents are really situational guys. Once again I recommend you kind of play around with them to see which are your personal favorites, but for now that's my default setup. Alright guys, so now let's take a look at the Unholy DK rotation. It's really straightforward. What you're going to do first is apply your Virulent Plague Dot on the target. Then you're going to use your Festering Strike to apply at least 4 festering wounds on a target. Then you're going to follow that up with Apocalypse, and then of course you're going to summon your Gargoyle. And when Gargoyle is up, you want to spend as much runic power as possible so that Gargoyle is doing as much damage as possible. And then after that it's pretty much a priority system. You want to make sure that your dot is always on the target, and then you want to make sure of course you have, you know, festering wounds on a target. And of course you want to burst those wounds with either Client Shadows or Scourge Strike, or you can also use Necrotic Strike to stop healing on the target as well. So that is pretty much the rotation in a nutshell. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it informative, and if you did, make sure you like, subscribe, share. I definitely will appreciate it. Also, if you have any questions whatsoever about today's video, make sure you leave them in the comments below and I'll check them out. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.